Welcome back. So the Democratic Alliance leader Mmusi Maimane has made news headlines, casting doubt on his character for the second time in the past 3 weeks. According to media reports, Maimane allegedly misled Parliament when he declared that he owned the Cape Town house he lives in. Now, reports say the house does not belong to Maimane, but that he is renting it from a Durban businessman. Adding to this, it was also reported that Maimane drove a vehicle donated by disgraced Steinhoff boss Marcus Jooste. Joining us now via Skype is Solly Malatsi, the DA national spokesperson, to talk to us about this issue. Solly, thanks very much for being with us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning.
Has the DA seen proof of payment or some sort of documentation that proves that Maimane is indeed paying rent for this house in Cape Town?
With regards to the house, the leader has provided the leadership of the party with documentation in the form of a lease agreement that indicates that there is a lease agreement between him and the lessor of the property. The matter was declared even before it became the media story that it is, because those who have sought to leak the story clearly have malicious intents with the goal of hurting the credibility of the leader.
Yeah. So the stance of the DA is still in support of Maimane?
Absolutely.
So why did Maimane initially tell Parliament that he was the owner of this house?
There was confusion, and it was a confusion in good faith. Parliament requires members of Parliament to declare properties that they own. The mistake Mr. Maimane made was to err on the side of caution by declaring this property. At no stage has he claimed that he owned the property, hence the reference to the existence to the lease agreement, which is also recognized by the lessor of the property. That is where the confusion was. It was a mistake in good faith.
All right, so let's talk if it was a mistake in good faith and you say that the renting of the house is passing fine with the DA. Let's talk about this car issue now. What is happening with regard to the car, where media reports are basically saying that he's been driving a sponsored car that's been paid for by Steinhoff boss Marcus Jooste?
So the history of the car is that it was a donation from Steinhoff to the organization. That donation, as you would know, different political parties fundraise in different ways, and donors also contribute in different ways. Steinhoff made the contribution in the form of a vehicle. That vehicle was to assist with campaigning in the Western Cape. Hence, the leader utilized that vehicle for that purpose, but also for the execution of his parliamentary duties in Cape Town. You would recall that this is the first time the DA has had a leader whose original base is outside of the Western Cape, because all previous leaders have always had a base and resources in that province. When the controversy around Steinhoff came to the fore, new facts became public, which the party did not know at the time it accepted the donation. So the responsible thing to do was to review the status of that donation in light of the new facts. And the party decided, rightfully so, that in light of what we know now, which we didn't know then, the appropriate thing would be to return the vehicle to Steinhoff.
Which was not done.
Which was done. The vehicle was returned.
So he's not driving this car? So
no, Mr.
Mmusi's not driving it. This is so where are the reports coming from saying that he is still driving the car?
It is malicious reporting based on incorrect information, either fed by people with a particular agenda. At this stage, Leanne, Maimane is not using that vehicle. That vehicle was returned some time ago to Steinhoff.
So one of the questions that need to be asked was also, you were saying that it's the first time that a leader has not resided in Cape Town and he never had a car. Why did the DA not look for a car for the DA leader? If in fact that was the case, after 4 years, one would think that that would be a priority. He is the leader of your party.
Hence the use of that vehicle, because when a donation came in the form of the vehicle, the provision was that the leader would use that in assisting the organization with campaigning the lead up to the 2016 elections. and also in the execution of his parliamentary duties. The thing is...
Continue, please.
The key thing here is that at the time the donation was received, we weren't aware of the facts surrounding Steinhoff. So it was accepted again in good faith based on what we knew. But as new facts develop, it is important to respond to them. Hence, there was discussion in the organization about the appropriateness of keeping the car in light of what had emerged. And the decision was taken that, given the controversy, despite the fact that we had been one of the organizations at the forefront of being critical and even urging Parliament to take action against Steinhoff, that we return the car.
Why has it been that your fellow party members have said that they warned Mmusi Maimane to return the car and he ignored their calls to do that?
If the call was ignored, he would still be in use of the car. The car is not in use or in possession of the DA at this stage. So it becomes very difficult to comprehend the intention of the colleagues to share that detail, because at any given time, when a discussion ensues about anything, the response can be immediate or there can be a process that follows. Ultimately, the outcome of that discussion about the car resulted in the vehicle being returned to the donor.
Yeah. So let's park those, because you've basically said, do you have documentation to prove all of this as a party? Do you have the documents? Because I know that one of your MPs, Michael Waters, have said that Maimane must provide documentation that he is actually paying rent for the house in Cape Town, and also, for the vehicle that it was returned when you say it was returned. Do you have proof and evidence of all of this?
The federal executive chairperson of the party indicated that when the vehicle was returned, you write to the donor was informed of returning the vehicle. It wasn't just a drop off and go.
Okay, so you say that it's there. You can prove all of this.
Yeah, the vehicle was returned, Leon.
Why are there so many internal squabbles happening within the DA? Because at the moment what's happening is it's the DA fighting against the DA. What's going on inside the party?
It's quite regrettable that when different colleagues have different opinions about key matters in the organization, those filter through into the media. Because any organization, particularly a political organization, is governed by democracy. And there can be robust discussion on different issues at any given time. What is important is that at the finalization of those discussions, the outcomes become binding on all the members of the party. It is quite unfortunate when those who have different views then find public forums and different avenues to share their positions on the matter, because we are not running a party of individuals. This is an organization that represents all the members and all the leaders who should be bounded by the decisions particularly decisions that are taken in official leadership forums and party structures.
I've been reading reports in newspapers this morning, and the one that stood out for me was one from the Business Day that had an interview with the leader, Mmusi Maimane, who has gone on to say that there are two factions within the DA. And he's saying that the one faction are those wanting DA liberal roots, and the other faction is calling for greater diversity. Do you believe that's what happened? That's what's happening? Are there distinct factions within the DA? Oh, Solly, are you still there?
Look at ideas.
Solly, we lost you.
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Okay, let's begin that answer again. I'm not sure if you heard my question about the two factions.
I did.
Okay, you can start. We can hear you clearly.
I think what is clearly visible is that there is robust contestation of ideas regarding the vision for the organization going forward along certain political ideologies and views. And that, unfortunately, gets characterized into factionalism.
So you don't believe that they're factions? And I mean, there is a big thing talking to, that the racial division within the party. And it's something that many people are seeing and many people are understanding and many people are feeling. Hence, there is huge confusion happening when one looks at the internal wranglings within the DA, because this talk of unity and all being on one page is not happening within the DA.
I'm not downplaying that at all. What I'm trying to explain here is that factionalism refers to a grouping or separate groupings along different visions and ideas, particularly an ideology, with the pursuit of a different outcome in a political environment. So what is clearly happening, based on the question you asked and what the public is feeling, is that there seem to be clear contestation that is unfortunately playing itself out in the public space. All organizations at even time have constant contestation of ideas about how to best grow the organization and to make the organization to the one that different South Africans can proudly associate with.
I want to just get a little bit of clarity, because we actually, our producers here at Morning Live spoke to Michael Waters, and he told them that he would love to talk about the situation, but the DA has actually prohibited him from doing so. If he has views on the situation at hand, why is he not allowed to speak about them?
The party has official leaders and individuals allocated different responsibilities. Spokespeople are allocated for interactions with the media, and different leaders have their different views. Hence, Mike Waters responded in the manner that he did, because he is mindful of his role in the organization, particularly as the deputy chair of the party. And that at any different occasions in the party, members are advised to resist from engaging the media on matters wherein the organization has articulated clear positions from them, because you can't have a situation wherein each and every individual who has an opinion on any matter goes on every media platform communicating whatever they feel at that given time.
Well, I mean, that brings into question the former leaders of the DA. You've got Helen Zille, you've got Tony Leon. They're constantly talking about their views and tweets, and some people saying that, it's almost that Mmusi Maimane takes a backseat when they speak, particularly Helen Zille. And is he really the leader of the DA?
He's definitely the leader of the DA. The difference between those and the current leader of the DA is that, as you correctly said, they are former leaders of the party. Current members of the party are bounded by the constitution of the organization and the rules of the different caucuses that they belong to. So the party has far more greater authority in enforcing discipline on current members than it does on former members of the party and former leaders of the party.
Let's talk about...
And I think it would be in all fairness for former leaders of the party and members of the party to be the ones accounting for their posture and public pronouncements.
All right. Let's quickly talk to the performance of the DA of late. I mean, we saw how you did in the elections, and it was not a very good performance. We're also seeing the same being repeated in a lot of the by-elections that are taking place. Clearly, the DA is losing favour with the voting public, and all of this to do with the image that's being portrayed.
We're absolutely concerned, Leanne. We can never be content with losing votes, be it in by-elections, in national or provincial elections. And it is one of the primary reasons that subsequent to the May elections, the leadership of the organization initiated the review of the party in order for us to do introspection and review where we came short and also how we can best re-galvanize the organization internally so that we can fix what clearly didn't work in the lead up to the May elections, which seems to have trickled over into some of the by-elections that are happening.
So Mmusi Maimane has again said that he would like to bring these the basic Federal Council meeting forward. It's happening in less than 3 weeks' time, but he again has said, let's make this happen sooner so that we can get to the bottom of all of this. Will it be held sooner?
I just need to make a correction there. Federal Council was always scheduled to take place in October. So I'm a bit confused about the reference to something being brought sooner, because Federal Council was always scheduled to take place in October. It would be taking place in the next 2 weeks. Federal Council is the senior decision-making body of the party in between congresses, and that is where the strategic review that has been initiated will be presented to the organization and deliberated there.
Okay. So in terms of, I suppose it is my fault for posing it that way. I suppose what I was meant to say is the Congress. He's called for the Congress to be moved forward. Apologies, Solly. Will the Congress be moved forward?
When Federal Executive met 2 weeks ago, the leader made the proposal about the consideration to bring Congress forward. The general feeling out of that meeting was that it would be undesirable to bring it forward, given that we had a Congress last year, and that the leadership also felt that the current leadership still has the mandate to lead us into the next Congress. So,
yeah, please carry on, Solly.
Sorry, the line keeps getting interrupted.
Yeah.
And in terms of the timing, I mean, we are due to have a Congress in the next 2 years. So that was part of the consideration, that having a Congress requires a lot of preparation, logistical preparation, and other factors to take into place. And given that, because provinces will also need to be ready and put all those logistics, the general feeling was that it would be undesirable. So that is the status now. That discussion might still continue, but in terms of the deliberations that took place when Federal Executive met 2 weeks ago, the outcome was that it would be undesirable.
Undesirable. So we know that a truce was reached, and it was said that Maimane would stay on as leader until 2021. With all of this happening and all these stories coming out and the infighting in the DA, do you honestly think that the party can continue this way until 2021?
Just clarify to me when you say this way.
You have just admitted to us right here that there are problems within the DA and that there are divisions, there are major factions, there are fights happening in your party. How can you possibly continue this way until 2021?
I needed to understand so that I can respond appropriately. So what is happening right now, as I said, is that Federal Council, which is the decision-making body, the senior decision-making body of the party in between Congress, can take any decision about the direction of the organization. What I was highlighting was that in terms of the different bodies that take certain decisions, the proposal for an Oli Congress was put to Federal Executive. Federal Executive felt that, despite the difficult chapter that is happening right now, it would be undesirable. In 2 weeks' time, we're having a Federal Council of the organization where we'll have decide, in light of everything that is happening, the recommendations of the review are saying, how are we going to best proceed? What is clear, and it's a general sense of everybody in the organization, is that would we prefer having, the public space that are taking place between different leaders? No organization would want to do that. We need to refocus on communicating our vision to society and showcasing that we are capable of providing alternative decisions. And that is why there's also been a strong emphasis towards the colleagues in speaking in different media platforms to resist doing so that we can address everything internally and be able to resolve the issues that seem to not be uniting some elements in the organization.
All right, Solly, we have to leave it there. Unfortunately, it's just a terrible line, and we have reached our news time at 7 o'clock. But that was Solly Malatsi. He's the DA national spokesperson, talking to us about the recent controversial news reports of Mmusi Maimane. So as we say, just gone 7. Let's get you